In my experience, and of course, based on my opinion, if you have an iPhone and you need a computer, it makes a lot more sense for you to have a Mac than it does a Windows computer. And this is coming from someone that used Windows computers exclusively for over 20 years. And this is all a little bit timely because here in March 2026, Apple just announced one of the least expensive MacBooks they've ever made. That's the MacBook Neo, and it starts at $599 US, $499 US for students. I've ordered one, I'll test it out, and I'll make a video about that to update my MacBook buying guide. Now might be a better time than ever to consider buying a Mac. So in today's video, I'm going to explain how Apple devices actually work together, sort of like teammates, so that you could start a task on one device and without planning ahead of time, just pick up another device and continue that task. It ends up saving you lots of time, lots of hassle, and you can enable all this by turning on just a few very simple settings. Welcome to my channel. My name's Dan Fox, and for over 30 years, I've professionally been helping people navigate technology. In the techie world, there's a phrase often used called the Apple ecosystem. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't, but regardless, it's really just a fancy way of referring to the way Apple devices work with each other. Now, today I'm going to focus strictly on the iPhone, the Mac, and the iPad, but this works for pretty much all other Apple devices too in some way, shape, or form. And I can tell you from experience, and also remember coming from that Windows world, this really does help you to get the most out of your technology and make your life easier. So what is the Apple ecosystem? Imagine you have a phone, a computer, and maybe a tablet. Normally these are separate devices and you kind of have to decide what you're going to use each one for. But with Apple, all your devices sort of talk to each other automatically. And once you start using this for a while, you realize that you no longer have to do these workflows where you have to like email yourself stuff or move files around from one device to another. It just works. Now, as we get into how your devices all work with each other and which applications work for this, just know there is literally a laundry list of applications that Apple has that synchronize like this between all of your devices. But today, let's keep it small, let's keep it simple, and let's focus on a few things that'll be the most valuable to you. Now, the key thing that makes this work is something Apple refers to as iCloud. We'll come back to this in just a bit. But let's talk about photos and videos. When you have multiple devices and you take photos on one of those devices, every photo you take will automatically appear on all your other Apple devices. This is without you doing anything. In fact, any albums that you make in the photos, any edits that you make in your photos, anything you delete or anything you add or change is going to appear on all of your devices. So let's say you went on a trip and you only brought your iPhone, and my wife and I actually just did this. I took a bunch of photos and videos during my trip, and when I got back to use my Mac, all my photos and videos were already on my Mac. It's really pretty awesome. Another actual real world example for me is I have an iPad and I like to edit my photos on the iPad in the Apple Photos app because it's a touchscreen interface like the phone, but it's a bigger screen and it's easier. When I'm done doing my edits, all those changes sync back to my iPhone and my Mac. So you really can just pick up whichever device suits you at that moment and have the same photos and videos organized in the same way, in the same albums, with the same edits on all your devices. I have used this for years and it really does work well. Now, full disclosure, if you take a lot of new photos at the same time or a lot of really big videos, your iPhone will need to be connected to Wi-Fi for a while for everything to sync back over to your Mac or to your iPad, but it will completely sync up and everything will be the same. In a normal day-to-day life, this is usually very quick. Another application that synchronizes between all of your devices is Apple Notes. And if you're new to Notes, it can be used like a very simple app just to jot down what you're thinking at the time. It has a lot more complex features that I'm certainly not going to get into today. But at the most simple level, it's great for things like recipes or planning a trip or just, like I said, quickly jotting down some of your ideas. You can scan in documents into Notes, which I showed in my last video. You can attach images for reference into your notes, and anything that you would historically sort of write down on paper is a good use of the Notes app. In fact, if you do have an iPad and an Apple Pencil, you really can write it down just like it was on paper. And in this Apple ecosystem, it's going to be synced up across all your devices. Get back to your phone and your Mac, and there's all your notes. Now, another real world use case for me with this is I like to take information sometimes from maybe a larger email or a website, and I just grab all that with my mouse on my Mac, copy it, and paste it into a note on my Mac. And then when I get back to my phone, all that information is there. I never would have tried to do that on my phone without a mouse and with such a small screen. One of the other apps that is most useful to me that synchronizes between all your Apple devices is the Reminders app. Now, we all know that Siri is not the best voice assistant, but she's actually pretty good at many things. And I am constantly walking around my house saying, "Hey Siri, remind me to do this on that day at this time." And whether you actually have Siri create these reminders or you just type them in yourself, I really like the fact that they sort of nudge you on the day and time that you set them to. So a reminder actually pops up on screen and you have to address it. I don't know how I would make it through the day without reminders, to be honest. But you can even do it for things that are way in the future, like, I don't know, a reminder to have your roof inspected in 2 years. And sure enough, in 2 years, it will pop up on your screen and remind you. It's great. I also use it for repeating things like every morning at 7 a.m., remind me to take my vitamins or whatever. And I know it sounds so simple, but having an application like this that synchronizes between your phone and your computer is so useful because it makes it so much less likely that you're going to forget to do something. It's going to pop up on your computer if you're there. It's going to pop up on your phone if you're using that. And although you can share from so many of these Apple apps with your friends and family for various things, the Reminders app is especially useful for sharing because you can share reminders with, say, your family members or your spouse. And as items are added to a reminders list, it'll sync up and be on everyone's reminders list. It's way more structured than the Notes app, and any items that you check off will disappear on everyone's list. And another real world example of this is a grocery list. My wife and I have had a shared grocery list in the Reminders app forever. This is especially useful if you still have kids at home because anything that gets added to the grocery list gets added to everyone's grocery list. And as you're in the store checking things off, it's disappearing from everyone's list. You can even add things to the grocery list from home when the family member is in the grocery store shopping. So we find it super useful. And again, it's kind of nice if you happen to be on your Mac and you think of something you need, you can just add it to the grocery list there. So a couple other apps that are super useful that sync like this are Mail and Calendar. So imagine you're in the middle of an important email and suddenly you get a call and have to leave. When you get to your location, you can just take your phone out and start right where you left off on your Mac. You can be right in the middle of a sentence on your Mac and it'll be synced up to your phone. So it's pretty awesome. And of course, it does the same thing with calendars. So if you added something to your calendar on your computer, it's going to be there on your phone. Another one I find super useful is the Safari web browser. So we're all using that on our iPhones all the time. But when you get back to your Mac, it's going to have your history, your favorites, your reading lists. Every single thing is synchronized and saved everywhere. And the last thing I want to touch on here is messages and phone calls, because this is one of those things that gets a lot of people interested. You can actually send and receive messages from your Mac or your iPad if you have one, using your regular process that you would do from your phone. And because your contacts also synchronize to all your devices, it's already going to have them there when you go to send someone a message. You can receive all of your messages there, and your phone doesn't even have to be anywhere near you. You can also do the same thing for phone calls. You can place phone calls from your Mac. You can receive phone calls to your Mac. And this is just when people call your regular old phone number. It's very cool. And this is especially useful if maybe you left your phone charging in the other room or you left it in the car, but your Mac and your iPad will continue to send and receive calls and messages just like normal. It works with FaceTime calls too. In fact, even if your iPhone is lost, stolen, or even destroyed, you can continue to send and receive regular phone calls and messages to and from your Mac and your iPad. So all this essentially just gives you the freedom to work wherever you want, whenever you want, and on whichever device you want. Everything is just there when you need it. So I'm going to show you how to turn this on your iPhone. The process is very similar with your Mac or an iPad if you have an iPad. Bear with me, it gets a little bit techie, but not too bad. So the first thing you're going to do is go into the settings on your iPhone. Then you're going to click your name here at the top. You have to be logged into your iCloud account for any of this to work, but most people are logged into an iCloud account anyway when they have an iPhone to really make anything work. Once you get into this page here, you're going to select on iCloud right here. When you get to this page, you're just going to select See All. And this page is where we're going to turn on iCloud for all the applications we talked about today. They may already be on for some of these for you, but we just want to make sure and turn them on if not. Now, if these aren't already on, for some of these, when you click here, you have to click here again to turn the green slider on. For other apps, the green slider is on that first page. So now we're just going to go through and enable iCloud for every app that we talked about. So turn on iCloud for iCloud Photos, for iCloud Mail, and for Notes. And then we're going to go down just a bit and turn on iCloud for Messages in iCloud, for iCloud Calendar, for Contacts, Reminders, and Safari. And the last iCloud setting to turn on is here towards the bottom. We're going to go down to Phone and FaceTime. Make sure this is turned on, and this will make sure your call log or your history of calls is the same across all your devices. Now, a couple quick settings to enable calls to go to and from all of your devices. You're going to go back into your settings, scroll to the very bottom, and tap on Apps. Then you can either scroll down to the phone app or tap over on the right where those letters are to jump down to the P section and then scroll down to Phone. Select Phone. Scroll down just a bit and select Wi-Fi Calling. Once you get into the Wi-Fi Calling page, make sure this top button is turned on, Wi-Fi Calling on this phone, and this bottom button is also add Wi-Fi Calling for other devices. You may get a pop-up notification from your carrier. If so, just hit OK. And you're all set. And the third and final step on iPhone, if you want to be able to send and receive messages from other devices, you're going to go back into your settings and you're going to scroll down to Apps once more, then scroll down to Messages, select Messages, then scroll down on the Messages page until you see Text Message Forwarding. Select that and make sure all of your other Apple devices are either on or selected green. And that's it for settings on the iPhone. Now we have to change one setting on your Mac and one setting on your iPad. Now I'm zoomed way into my MacBook screen here, but this is where we're going to change a setting on your Mac that allows your Mac to send and receive calls. Very simple. All you have to do is open the FaceTime app. You might get this message that pops up right away. All you have to do is hit turn on if you get this message to enable Wi-Fi calling. I'm going to say not now because I want to show you what to do if you don't get that pop-up. You'll need to select FaceTime in the upper left-hand corner, Settings, and then push this button right here that says Upgrade to Wi-Fi Calling. It may ask you to confirm again, just select Enable, and that's it. And if you happen to have an iPad and you want to send and receive calls from that too, go into Settings, scroll down and click Apps just like we did on the iPhone, but this time go to FaceTime. Select FaceTime, scroll down until you see Calls from iPhone. Select that and select Upgrade to Wi-Fi Calling. And that's it. Now everything's set up and should work perfectly. Now, this whole Apple ecosystem thing isn't really about having more stuff. To me, it's just about making the devices that you have work together to save you time, to keep you organized, and to make your life more simple. And it does work for me. And I purposely didn't even get into how cohesive and seamless things also work between like an Apple Watch and AirPods and Apple TV and Apple HomePod speakers. And maybe I'll save all that for another video. But if you just want things to work as smoothly as possible, having a Mac and maybe an iPad instead of a Windows computer just makes sense if you already have an iPhone. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more simplified tech tips. If you want to see more videos with the Apple ecosystem features, please let me know. And as a quick side note here, I finally got my entire house set up as an Apple smart home, and everything is controlled by voice, by Siri, and I really do think there's a huge benefit in this, especially for those of us that are getting a little bit older. Voice-activated everything is really handy sometimes, and if you think this might be of interest to you, let me know in the comments and I'll make an entire video about it, or maybe an entire series of videos about it. Also, thanks to all of you, I hit 10,000 subscribers last week. You all have been so kind and supportive, and I very much appreciate it. Also, a very special thank you to the newest members of my channel. I really appreciate you guys and helping me get our little community started here. I am working on a few things in the background, such as maybe bi-weekly members live streams for technical questions and answers and early access to some of my upcoming videos. More to come on that. That's it for this week, and I'll see you next time.